All right, we are live. Can you
Awesome.
hear me all right and see me all right, Dr. Nick? I guess we probably should have asked that before we
Yeah,
throw
okay.
a live video.
You look great. You sound great.
Yeah, you look good. Sound good too, man.
Thanks.
It's nice being in your backyard here in St. Louis.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good to have you, man.
Yeah, it was good. Good meeting up with you and Dr. Max last night and hang out at the Wolf. It's where I used to study when I was in chiropractic school.
Crazy. Full circle.
Full circle. No, it's nice to be back. Gosh, well, guys, it's Dr. Casey Pride here. I'm here with my very good friend, Dr. Nick Barnes, and we're actually in the same state. We're not in the same location at the moment, but we wanted to get on here and talk a little bit. And I know just off camera, you and I were just chatting a little bit about the immune system, and I think that's a hugely important topic right now because we're coming into flu season. We're not hearing anything about the flu right now, but it is the time of year where that starts, where people do start to get sniffles. They do start to get a little under the weather, and just giving you guys some stuff that you can use right now to optimize your immune system and stay healthy through this fall and this winter. So you're not one of the people that's at home on the couch missing work and feeling like crap, and you're able to stay healthy. So, Nick, when you have patients who come to you and they want to know how to maintain a healthy immune system, what do you tell them?
Well, the first step is the mindset behind where did the flu season come from, right? And I think if people understand the reason why there's more prevalence to viruses, bacterial infections, flu, sicknesses across the board during flu season, I think people have to wrap their mind around that to know that they're not broken. But there are more stressors in our life, environmentally, emotionally right now. I mean, I know a few things that I tell patients when they talk about the flu season. They think it's like, it's just because of the calendar part of the year. And honestly, it's way more than that. Some top stressors that increase right now that can weaken the immune system is we're not getting outside enough. So we're not getting fresh air enough because it's too cold, right? From where we are in St. Louis. That's one thing too, is that since we're not getting outside enough, we're not getting enough sunlight. So we're not getting enough natural vitamin D3 production from sunlight exposure. And number three is that we are more sedentary. So there's the physical component, physical stress on our spine. So we're sitting more, we're lounging around more, we're watching Sunday football all day long, we're watching Saturday football all day long and not moving off the couch. And so there's a legitimate physical stressor on the nervous system. And then also, you throw into account the emotional stressors. Yeah, they can be good stresses, but there's also bad stresses. You think about, the holidays coming up. Halloween, not necessarily a stress holiday emotionally, but chemically from the lack of proper nutrition and sugar addiction that's out there. That's really when our immune system and our nervous system start to have havoc wreaked on it. And then you throw in, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, there's a financial burden there, of course, depending on, what kind of family traditions you have. There's family stress, going to see the in-laws or having the in-laws over to your house. I mean, everyone's just off routine, whether it's school routine is off, whether it's you're traveling more or less, depending on what it is. And so I think people got to recognize that the flu season doesn't come around and it's not this, this thing is going to come out and get us. There's real things that we can do to combat the environmental stressors, the seasonal stressors that are out there to where you're not a victim in your environment. And so I think getting back to your question, I think it's understanding like, what is the flu season? Why is it called that? Why did they coin it as that? And recognizing that this is a time that our immune system it has so many stressors on it and we can do something about it. And I think it also comes back to the mindset of taking ownership of what you're putting your body through day in, day out. What are you putting your mind through day on day and on and day out, and realize that there's no such thing as perfection in a healthy, stress-free life, because there's no such thing as a stress-free life, but there is such a thing as progress and moving in the right direction. And I think people have to own that and be okay with that.
Yeah, man, and I love what you said about sugar, right? Especially because I think that's probably one of the pieces of it that is so relevant right now, because flu season tends to hit right when our diets start to go crap, for the holidays. Right. Yeah. And what a lot of people don't know is that sugar shuts your immune system down for hours every time you eat it. It just weakens your immune system function. And if you think about it, are you eating more sugar right now between Halloween and Christmas, or are you eating less? And for most people, it's a lot more. It's not just a little more. It's like, people are bringing cakes and cookies and all kinds of stuff to the office, and you have all these family gatherings. And so that piece of lifestyle often goes out the window for people this time of year. it's no coincidence that flu season and the time when people get sick happens to fall in that same window of the year. So obviously it's we're getting to the holidays and people want to enjoy themselves. They want to enjoy themselves with family, but what you really need to ask is, has this become a lifestyle where I'm eating sugar, or has it become like a special occasion, where I do this during certain times and I really enjoy it? Because if you do this every year, October, November, December, that's a 25% of your year every year where you're basically treating your body like crap. Right. So it's important.
More important than that, I think it's a good point. 90 days essentially where we're just destroying our body because it's more convenient too, right? I'll be honest with you, getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning when it's cold and wet out, it's horrible, guys. Like, it's not easy to do. Like, I don't want to do that. But I think one of the things we got to recognize is that, like I said, we're going to have bad days. We're going to have bad moments. We're going to have bad stressors that come along the way in this season that can, wreak havoc on our immune system. But we can't just let everything that we've been doing from a health promotion side, the good things that we're doing in our lifestyle, just let those fall to the wayside. Because that's what I see happening is where people fall off the wagon with some choices they make. They fall off the wagon with every choice they're making, right? And I think that's one of the things that we got to recognize, that we can't just look back at come January 1 and be like, well, it's starting over. We want to make. I know you want this with your patients too. Like, I want to head into this time of the season with rhythm and momentum of great changes and with health promotion, to where January 1 is another day on the calendar. It's another day of progress. And you may have 3, 4, 5, 6 days, or let's say weekends over the next 120 days that aren't the best. But come Monday morning or come Sunday morning or whatever it is, like, you're back on the bandwagon, and understand that it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Don't let the emotional stress carry on to the next day. It's not okay.
Yeah. I think responsibility is the huge word here. You really have a heck of a lot of. The fact that you have responsibility over your health means you have choice. Right. Yeah. It means you get to make the choice what direction you go, and just having the knowledge and the discipline to make those good choices consistently, and then enjoy yourself here and there. You're going to be able to stay healthy. Yeah.
Control what you can, forget what you can't. Right. You're going to, and what I mean by control is that you may make a bad decision. That's okay. Just don't keep making the bad decisions. Like, all right. And I think coming from a place of conviction, not condemnation. Not just spiritually, but emotionally and physically. Like, it's okay to be convicted. And this last weekend was brutal, but it's going to be a different week. It's going to be a new week. And I think having people like us, professionals like us in their corner, we're going to fight for them because they're going to fight for us. And it's a counterculture thing where we're a family. And that's why it was so awesome getting together with you yesterday in person, and with another fellow colleague, is that that's what we need. We need support too. We can get in here and do videos all day, and of course we look like we got it all together and sound like we got it together, but we need each other still. We need the people in our corner that are going to fight for us, to say, listen, keep making the right choices, keep making the right decisions, and pour into each other. And for your patients, for my patients, for people who are on this path of taking responsibility for their health and healing, I think we have to lean into each other and not be on our own island. And it's okay to lean into each other. It's okay to be the weird one during the holiday seasons, because this is when I really start to get weird, around Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, from a judgment perspective from family and friends, where it's like, oh, you're not going to eat that, or you're not going to feed your kids that, or blah, 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 And I think it's okay to say, you know what, I need some help, I need some resources, and I need some accountability, because I know the right choices to make. But you know what? Let's be honest, it's not easy to make the right choices right now. And that in turn can either positively affect your immune system or negatively affect your immune system. I think one of the things that I've seen, Dr. Casey, is that people try to create this gray area when it comes to our immune system. Well, I think I'm healthy. I don't really know if I'm healthy. Well, our decisions yield our outcomes. And so I think there's always a cause and an effect when it comes to the immune system. And you know what, whether it's good or bad, there's still a cause and effect, which in my mind is grace and a huge blessing, because I know yesterday was bad. Today, of course, is not going to be great. Right. And vice versa. So.
Yeah, I love the accountability piece too, man, because I know it, like you said, this is kind of a counterculture lifestyle. This time of year, the culture is to eat bad, to eat sugar, to be sedentary, and do all these things that aren't necessarily healthy. And so doing what everybody else is doing isn't necessarily going to serve you. And so having a tribe, a healthy tribe, someone, people to come alongside you and make these decisions with you, whether that looks like, us, as your support system, as your doctor, or just having other people who think like you, who you can spend some time with. One reason I'm able to stay on the wagon so well, I know you're able to stay on the wagon so well, is, I surround myself with people who support this lifestyle, people who think like me. And I spend most of my time with those people. And it's a lot easier to make those good, healthy decisions when you're around other people who are making good, healthy decisions. So if you don't have that tribe, connecting with an office like yours or an office like mine, where you can have that, is really going to support you.
Yeah. I think it gets back to like remembering the why behind why you make the choices you make, right? And so I think that if the why is big enough, the how is attainable, the how is doable. And so once again, it may not be perfect, but you just remember what you're anchored to and why you want to be well, why do you want to be healthy without drugs or surgery, and why do you want to take responsibility for your health, and why do you look at the word responsibility and choice as freedom? I mean, that should make you feel great that you can take responsibility for your health, or your sickness. Honestly, I mean, that is freedom in that, and I think it's a whole other level, a whole other layer of healing when people can take responsibility for it. So I think anchor to your whys is something I would recommend in this season. Secondly, I think the other thing that gets forgot about or gets overlooked, I guess, is celebrating the small wins, right? Celebrating the victories, whether that's emotionally, spiritually, relationally, when it comes to your health. I mean, celebrate the small wins right now. I think if there's anything right now, like what happens in the positive, I guess, vibes, or what you want to call it, in the next 90 days, is that, there's a lot of fun things that are going to be going on, right? And I think we forget sometimes to celebrate our personal wins and our personal victories, and celebrate each other, celebrate your family. I think yesterday was a good testament. Like, okay, we made it happen, an hour and a half, 2 hours, just hanging out together when we haven't seen each other in a while, right? So I think a lot of times people just get so busy and that they don't make time to celebrate the wins. And I think that you have permission right now in this season to celebrate the wins.
Yeah, you got two things that you said there that just land for me, man. One is anchoring to your why, because when you set a big goal, remembering the why. Why did you set that goal in the first place? Why did it matter to you? Why is it important to you? And being able to really anchor to that, that's really what's going to get you through it when you're in one of those moments where it's like you're really tempted to fall off the wagon, right? And it's remembering that why. But celebrating the wins is huge too. So many of us are just so quick to, and this is me to a T, man, but we're so quick to beat ourselves up when we screw up in a little way or a big way. And we're so reluctant to celebrate when we do something right, when you do something right. And so, Andrea's really good about, reminding me to celebrate on this kind of thing. But, celebrate the wins, because when you do that, what you're doing is you're telling your subconscious, you're reinforcing to your subconscious, that you're doing the right thing. And it's one of the best things that you can do. Don't just you shouldn't beat yourself up anyway, but make sure, if you're beating yourself up for the little things, you better be celebrating the little wins too.
That's right. Yep. And I think celebrating other people, I mean, is huge in this time. I think it's one of the most, it's a weird time of season to where some people have all the family in the world, but they may feel lonely, or, they may be depressed or anxious, or they feel like no one's there to listen or no one's there talking. So the small wins, show up and celebrate people, whether it's a birthday you don't want to go to, I've been there before. Whether it's a dinner you don't want to go to, I've been there before. You still celebrate people. And I think it's cool it's cool. And I think it's, once again, you're creating, I love the word tribe. I mean, you're creating your tribe of people. And in that comes protecting your heart and your mind from, the crazy things that are out there. I said people, but the crazy culture that's out there with the media and all the fear mongering that's occurring right now, and will probably continue to occur for the rest of our lives, depending on what category it's in. And so I think celebrate the wins, but also protect your heart and your mind in this time, because that also impacts your immune system as well.
Yeah, and emotional stress is so high right now. I mean, being able to manage that well. What do you do to handle your emotional stress, man?
I think the biggest, because I'm under a lot of stress always. Most of it's self-induced stress, but because I would fall on the same lines of like, okay, we hit this goal, or I hit this health goal. Now what's next? I mean, before I can even like celebrate, I'm like, all right, what's next, right? And I just think there's a good things and bad things that come with that. But for me, I think the most important thing that I do to help combat my stress, emotional stress, is find time, create time in the morning, quiet time. And quiet time doesn't necessarily mean it has to be literally quiet. I mean, either in prayer, in scripture. Sometimes it's a podcast where I'm just getting ready, listen to a podcast. Sometimes it's worship music. Sometimes it's just nothing, and I'm, looking at the weather today. Like, just simple things that just help me create peace in my life, because sometimes the only quiet time I get is in the morning time. And so I think creating time in the morning for yourself allows you to give more to other people throughout the day, whether that's coworkers, your church, your spouse, your kids, whatever, your patients. I think you have to create time for yourself in the morning, because that's the best time that you're going to be able to fill yourself up.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. Yeah, one thing that I do is I get a lot of NET work done on me as well, like the chiropractic emotional work, and probably 2 or 3 times a week I'm on someone at the Cone Institute's table, just getting that work done, just cleaning off emotionally, and looking at things from the past that are triggering me today.
Yep.
That's one thing that's really interesting is I'll go into a situation and for some reason it just really bothers me. It's like, that shouldn't have bothered me that much. And then I'll go get NET done, and the doc will say, yeah, that's tied to, this event that happened, 20 years ago, and where you felt this. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly right. And they clean up, I clean it off, and then it's not an issue anymore. I'm not triggered so quickly,
No, that's good. I think it's a good point. I think it's actually, it's almost does the opposite. If you're able to become more self-aware and more vulnerable of maybe past hurts that are affecting you today or affecting how you respond to your environment today, there's power in that. Just the recognition of that and being okay to communicate that or journal it or whatever way you want to communicate that, and to recognize that, I was out of line there, or I was in line, or however you want to communicate that. I think there's healing in that. Just the recognition of it, and the ability to say, like, wow, I shouldn't have responded that way, or I don't know why I'm so stressed a day later after someone said that to me. I must care about too much what they think about me. Why is that? So I think there's not enough of that in our culture. And I feel like there's tons of power in that, power and healing in that.
Yeah. I think the emotional piece is probably one of the most overlooked pieces of health and healthcare. I mean, the only question you need to answer to know that your emotion is affecting your body is, where in your body do you hold or carry your stress? Like,
right.
Everybody has an answer. Like, when I'm stressed, my back tightens up. I feel it between my shoulder blades. I get headaches. It's like, okay, your emotional stress is physically affecting your body, right? It's changing your state of health. So you got to address it.
Yeah. And beyond pain, as I mean, it goes, my gut health issues, that's weird, or my skin, or I can't sleep at night, or I'm irritable. Like, a lot of times people think just the physical stress, emotional stress affects the physical component from our pain level, but actually from our function level. That's what I think people don't understand in chiropractic, is that there's 3 levels of stress. There's physical, chemical, emotional stress, which are all under attack during flu season, right? And every other season in our life, right? And that chiropractic actually affects all of those 3 stressors. It mitigates and reduces the risk that we have from those 3 stressors across the board. Not just, hey, you feel better in your neck and your back, but your gut health is going to be more balanced. Your function of your hormones are going to be more balanced. Your body's going to be able, most importantly, your body's going to be able to adapt to its environment better. It's going to be able to adapt to running more, or walking more, or sitting more. The adaptation to our environment, I think, is the underlying most important foundation that I believe for my body with chiropractic today, after getting adjusted for 15 years. I believe that that's the most important thing in chiropractic, is not just to look good, feel good, and prevent disease, but to be able to give me the adaptation ability to deal with my stressors in my life, the things that I can't control or the things I can control. And I think once people lay on the table, they start getting adjusted, and their whole mindset is changing into, wow, this is going to help me adapt to my life. I mean, that is even before how they feel. I mean, that is before the symptoms going away, before the medication being thrown away, before the surgery being canceled. But no, my body's going to be able to adapt to my environment. This chiropractic adjustment is going to help me adapt to my environment, not just today, but for the rest of my life. And I think it's a whole different, another layer of chiropractic that people don't even recognize. They don't even recognize it.
Yeah, the adaptability piece is huge, and that's one thing that I really stress with my patients, because yes, we have to look at these three types of stressors: the structural, the chemical, and the emotional. And most patients will tell me, like, I think it's my stress that's affecting my health, and I'll say yes, and there's a key thing that we're missing here, and that is your body's ability to adapt to your stress, because we can't eliminate stress, but your adaptability should always exceed your level of stress. And because if it exceeds it and there's a gap there, it's that gap that allows for healing. It's when the stress exceeds your adaptability, when that gap is there, your body breaks down, right? Yeah. So that gap between adaptability and the amount of stress that you're under, there has to be a gap in that direction where you're always more adaptable. And with chiropractic, what we're doing is we're really clearing out the communication system in the body that allows the nervous system to coordinate all of that adaptation. So a lot of people think, well, I get adjusted and it feels good and my pain goes away. And usually that's true, but it's if that's all you use it for, it's like buying an iPhone and only using it for the calculator feature. You're really.
And that's a great point, because what's amazing is that you can use it the same way if you're the patient, but you recognize the innate potential being released. It's what the patient's belief system is in chiropractic, and or the professional or the chiropractor or the doctor themselves. Am I going to treat this patient for pain? Or am I going to treat this patient today to allow their body to express 100% innate intelligence, regardless of the environmental stresses that they have? That is the mindset shift. And so guess what? Patients that are with you and me for the rest of their lives, or 5 years or 6 years or whatever it is, listen, they don't come for pain anymore. They come for releasing the innate potential so they can deal with the stressors in their life, so they can live up to a potential that they deserve to live to, the God-given potential, right? That's inside of them. And so I want to step back and say, when you said like the levels of adaptation and stress, like, where do most Americans live? They live with their stress higher than their adaptation. And that leads to sickness, disease, and suffering. That is the majority of our culture. And we don't want the people that we love and care about, family, friends, patients, random people on Facebook that follow us, whatever it is that we love and care about, to live like every other American. Like, we don't want your stressors to be higher than your levels to be able to adapt. It's not going to yield a good result. And so let's do all we can in our life by changing our mindset, getting our spines adjusted, eating clean food that gives our body life, and recognizing that there is a responsibility that we have, and that we want to do everything we can to have our level of adaptation far exceed our levels of stress in our life. We can't get rid of the stress, but we can change our body's ability to adapt to the stressors that we have placed on it, not just today, but for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, and the more adaptable you are, the more your system can handle those days when, hey, it's a holiday, and I'm gonna eat the cookie. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the thing that's maybe not so healthy. When you're adaptable, your body can handle that. That's and right. Often when I have patients who first come in and they're in really bad shape, and I'll usually give them a list of foods where it's like, these are things that it's going to serve you to avoid because it's going to take you in the wrong direction. These are things, if you eat them, it's going to help you. And they're like, well, how strict do I have to be with this? And I'm like, well, right now your body's not very adaptable. So every time you eat these, it's going to create a problem for you. But over time, as you become more adaptable, you're going to be able to introduce some of these, because your body's going to be stronger. You're going to be able to handle the stress of these things later. But if you really want to get well right now, you're really going to want to be disciplined on this. So yeah, I think that's so huge, man, what you say about adaptability, because so often we're focused on the healthy diet, reducing the stress, but we don't focus on the body's nervous system and raising that adaptability. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good.
Yeah. Well, man, this has been good. It's always good catching up with you.
It's been great.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything you want to leave the fine people with here on Facebook and YouTube?
I think it's easy to hear a lot of different messages on social media and say that sounds good, but not change. And so my hope, anytime you're on Facebook Live with someone else, or I'm on Facebook Live, or we're doing a workshop, or we send out a mass email or a mass text, whatever it is, like, my goal is that it just transforms your mindset just a little bit more. And the more we transform your mind, you transform your own mindset and how you view what's currently happening in our culture and will continue to happen in our culture. The more you transform that, then your actions have to come along with that, which is awesome. A lot of times people think you got to change your actions first. No, I actually disagree with that. I actually think we should change our mindset, and then our actions will have to coincide with our belief system and our foundation, and that the old actions that we've had in our life are going to be contradictory to our new belief system, and that's when transformation in your life will happen. And guess what? It takes time for some people, and some people it takes a weekend, some people it takes a minute, some people it takes years. And you know what? No matter what track you're on, you're still progressing. And so as long as you're progressing, be positive, be optimistic. There's no such thing as the flu season that you cannot control.
Yeah. I love it, man. You're doing a big immune, like a virtual seminar here coming up, aren't you?
Yeah, so we're doing a masterclass immune system series. It's going to be awesome. We got 6 workshops lined up. We have amazing resources for people who are getting signed up for this. And so if you do want to get plugged into this event, we only have 1 more week to sign up for it. All you got to do is either reach out to me via the website that's going across the screen, drnickbarnes.com. Or you can just text into the office. The office number is 314-942-8608, 314-942-8608. And you're getting signed up for the masterclass series. So just reach out that way.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that up on the screen here.
All right, sweet.
if I can.
I didn't give you a heads up. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I didn't plan. I'd actually forgotten you were doing that, but I wanted to share it because we started talking about immune system. So that's yeah, I was reading up on the event, man, and I think that's going to be really good. So awesome, man. Well, always good to see you. And Facebook, YouTube people, always good to see you guys. Thanks for commenting, and they've been quite a few comments have come through today as we've been talking, man. So I think this is resonating. Yeah. So Dr. Nick, good to see you, man. It was awesome to see you last night. And dude, we got to get you out to Orange County. You got to come visit sometime, man.
Oh, I will.
All right, man. We'll chat soon.
See you, buddy.
See ya.